All right, everybody. So welcome in. Today I am here with Fabian. Fabian, if you can please introduce yourself. What do you do?
My name is Fabián Urquijo. I'm the commercial director for the Fashion Gold brand, which is a haircare brand that is a leading brand in Brazil, and we're expanding here in the US.
I love to hear it. How did you initially hear about like my company and like the services that we do?
I think I found you online. I think I found one of your ads in Instagram, and I was very well impressed with the different flows and the organization of it, which led me to reach out and get connected to you.
Yep. And it's been such a blessed journey ever since then. If I if I
It's
if I
been
say it on my
good.
end, yes,
It's
sir.
been great.
Um, Mainly, I know that when we first signed up, they weren't really doing anything on the email side. Like, what were kind of like the main struggles of it? Like, were you guys trying to do email stuff before us? Like, what was like the biggest kind of like pain point that made you guys want to move forward and kind of like work with us?
What I noticed when I started working with this brand, and I manage other brands as well, is they had a lot of traffic, but they didn't have any retention mechanisms in place. So they didn't have any emails, and I saw there was a huge gap between the people that would add to cart and the people that would complete the purchase. And I simply knew that, with great marketing on the back end, integrating an email system, we could increase revenue and we could basically better educate. And again, when you think about email systems, it's revenue comes to mind, but also I look at brand building. And today, this brand is called Fashion Gold. It's the leading brand in Brazil that has a community of about 20,000 influencers, and it's the same strategy in the U.S. And when you work with influencers, you pretty much leave them to speak their own understanding of the brand. What we have with an email system like we do is you own the voice of the brand and you communicate directly with the consumer to build the brand, to sell the benefits, to launch your new innovations, to connect with them one on one. And that's what I really like. And again, I knew that it was something that the brand needed, and I was impressed with your capabilities, with the way that you approach, with your offer, which by the way is right on the money. The 22%, 2021, 22% of revenue coming from email. That was right on the both flows and campaign. That's right on the money. So that's what caught my attention.
Gotcha. So really, it was just that like since with the first initial part of like you guys are getting customers, but really it was just about retaining them and getting them to purchase multiple times. That was kind of like one big issue, and then on top of that, since majority of your marketing was kind of done through influencers and it was all their kind of tone of voice, now you're able to kind of own your own tone of voice and kind of craft that for yourself, and that's kind of like how what the emails have been able to do for you. Does that sound about right?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. And I think the brand building process is not only about just communicating. This brand was very focused on promotions, pricing promotions.
Yeah.
So the reason that why that happens is because the influencers or the affiliates are looking for excuses to promote,
Yeah.
and then that becomes a very sensitive brand. So what we were able to do together is to drive value add communication, to educate on the benefits
Hmm.
of the brand, on the promise, outside of any price promotion. So really sell the brand for what the brand is, position it differently, position the right strength of the brand. And I think your team has had a very good understanding in terms of this brand, what it offers, what makes it unique, and communicate that very strongly. And in fact,
Of course.
I see a situation in which we should be able to sell the products without running price promotion or minimizing it heavily.
Mm.
And I think that's one of the key differences that we have with this brand in other parts of the world that are still very price promotion driven as opposed to benefit, purpose, mission, and education driven based on the
Yeah.
merits of the products.
Gotcha. Yeah. So we're kind of able to get you out of that, like, kind of like that hamster wheel of like, okay, we need to start running promotions to start generating sales, to like, okay, we could start incorporating benefits inside of our marketing. So we're able to get sales off of the actual benefits rather than us, like, losing margin off of the sales.
Absolutely.
Kind of just wanted to kind of dive into kind of like the bit of the revenue numbers as well. Like, what was kind of like the revenue like before working with us, and also like what is the revenue like now? And on top of that, what have we been able to generate for you guys as well?
So when we started, our revenue was around 60, $70,000 a month maybe. Since then, we've been growing the influencer base, but I think email was able to generate as well. Since we started working together, which has been 5 months ago, we generated over $100,000 in revenue. And that, like I mentioned earlier, is about 20% of the total revenue. And the beautiful thing about this is the flow is, set it and forget it. I mean, that thing just basically on your sleeves, while you're basically sitting, having dinner, where you're basically sleeping, where you're going for a run, that thing is producing revenue, which is great.
I think one question that I have is like, as like a marketing lead for this company, obviously, like you have like CEOs, you have founders kind of like above you, kind of eyeing you down of like where you're trying to take the company, because that's kind of like where like they obviously want to continue growth. How have we been able to help you hit different milestones that also makes kind of like the CEOs happy as well, and the different founders on top of that?
My thinking is, you have the ecosystem, and you have discovery, you have conversion, you have retention, and I've always started backwards. I've always liked to have retention, conversion, discovery. And the reason for that is because once the people come in, you want all that to be in place. So this brand was doing it the other way around. They were getting the discovery, they were getting the traffic, but they were not getting the conversion, they were not getting the retention. So what this allows us is, it allows us to, first of all, we paid out in the first month. I mean, this has been a transactional ROI of, 5, 6 since the beginning, and today I think our ROI is probably 8, 9, 10. I haven't looked at the line number, maybe 8.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And everything every day will get better because things are in place, and we'll continue to add traffic. So that's the first thing. How does it help? It helps us to basically generate additional profits and reinvest in driving digital assets for the benefit of the business.
Mm-hmm. I just 2 more questions here, Fabian. One, how have the kind of overall content of like how fast we're able to get like the tone of voice down, the designs that we're doing for you, like how has that been kind of, because I know that's one main concern for a lot of brand owners is that like, oh, we're not able to get that for them. Like how have we been able to get that for your company here?
I think there's been a great understanding day one. Your copywriter really understood the brand, and your designer really understood the brand. We're a Brazilian brand. We wanted to communicate authentically Brazilian. It's a happy brand. It's a hopeful brand. It's a cheerful brand that dramatizes great, beautiful, healthy hair. And your team was able to do that, not only keeping the Brazilian heritage, but also adapting to the American, language and day of living and the concern. So I think the copywriting, I'm really happy where it is. It's value add. The design is great. It's consistent. You take a look email after email. We have a lot of ownable assets that we use, but at the same time, your team is able to generate, stock images that are in line with the ownable assets, with the own assets. So I'm happy, and I think it's been great. And again, the result shows that you consistently do 22% of revenue in a 50-50 split between flows and campaigns. So, and again, we also have SMS, and they contribute, and we have to regenerate all those bases. I think something else to note is since we started, we tripled our base. So all the welcome flows and all the different things basically allow us to triple our consumer base, and that basically over time just generates more and more revenue because you have a larger base to talk to.
Yeah, totally. And I think the last question that I have here, Fabian, just before I let you go, is what would you say to a other marketing director or another CEO of another e-commerce brand who's considering working with us? What would you say to that? What would you say to that person?
I'll say don't be afraid. Go with a young team that understands technology, is willing to take risk, listens really well to the customer, to the client's feedback, in this case us, and is working to the best benefit of the brands that they're pushing. They're hungry, they're humble, they know tech, and they're agile. They're quick to respond to the feedback. And honestly, we didn't have any issues. You and I didn't have any issues, or you and your team didn't have any issues working together. There's a
Yeah.
little bit of explanation and there's a little bit of, onboarding at the beginning, but then I think the team understands the brand very well. We review strategy once a month. I like the way you set up your system with ClickUp to approve. The combination of ClickUp and Slack to communicate and to approve, it makes it very, very easy. And so honestly, we didn't have any issues.
Perfect. I
And
love
now
it,
it's up
Fabian.
to it's honestly up to us with the creativity and understanding and analyzing the results to see how we can make it better.
Exactly.
And we will.
Exactly. That's exactly what we're here for. So yeah, other than that, Fabian, I don't really have anything. I really do appreciate the time for taking this, and yeah, we're gonna continue working together. We're gonna continue, driving more results, and we're gonna build those flows out so we can get, more percentage coming in from that.
Absolutely, and thank you. Thank you to you. Thank you and the team. Thank you for your leadership, and looking forward to more successes in the future, not only of these brands, but hopefully many brands to come.